Alright, so let's jump over here and grab these guys. And I think that'd probably be sufficient. Uh-oh. Alright, so at this point we are going to be forced to reconcile with our asymmetry here. So what I'm going to do is turn off my live surface. I'm going to select this piece of geometry and duplicate it. We'll hide the original. There are some things in here I definitely don't want to modify, so let's see what happens. Alright, so these guys are going to be their own pieces, and I think this thing here, that was asymmetrical as well. And who knows, we may discover some additional areas of asymmetry down the road, but for now I'm just going to go mesh, separate, and you can see now we've got this new thing that just happened over here. So there's our original geometry, we don't really want to mess with that. This is our retop, we don't need to play with that. And then these things here are the ones that we are going to want to fix the symmetry on. Hide that, because it's totally, well, another thing I noticed as I was looking at some of the other videos, I did scale this non-linearly on accident at some point very early on, so these are actually not oval or circular, so I am going to probably tweak this just a tiny bit, but that's not what I'm worried about here for this. So we're going to go ahead and combine all this stuff and delete the history on it. I think the sides are fine because they look okay in the retop, but it's just like some of these little features here that are cut in are clearly problematic. So we'll just go to mesh, mirror. Great. Okay, so this right here, this whole area just like moved in a little bit. I'll go ahead and do it again. You can see when I hit undo there. So if I just hit mirror, fixed. Okay, so now we can go ahead and delete the history, delete by type history. We can show all of this other stuff that we just hid. So here's our high poly. And where is our sweet little retop? Retop's probably right here. Yeah, so we'll just leave that alone for now. Do a cursory review. These things, this piece here is obviously messed up as well. So I'm just going to delete it because, again, my plan is to just do one of these and then I can just duplicate that over when the time comes. So let's look at our retop now. I'm looking at this thing here. That looks a little bit goofy as well. So let's go ahead and hide the retop. You know, really the only thing that I'm worried about screwing the symmetry up on is this stuff right there. And the rest of it can be completely symmetrical, so I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach here. We're going to combine all of our high poly geometry. What is that? Ah, that piece in there. So that piece I'm not that worried about. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it. So we're basically at this point just going to pop this off, this little detail here, in the same way. So we'll just say, whoops, make sure you're modeling. I must have hit a hotkey to hop out of that. So we'll go mesh, separate, and all of these things now are going to be their own little items because they're not welded together. So if I were to expand that, you can see there's a million of them. So I'm just going to go ahead and combine them. I can go ahead and select everything here and delete the history, delete by type history. So these are floating off in space, so I can actually just hide that for the time being. I'm going to grab all of this stuff, mesh combine, and we're copying from this side over to this side, so that's why I wanted to hang on to this one. And we'll just go to, I am a little bit concerned about what may happen to this these circles on the center here, so we'll need to keep a little bit of an eye on that. I do have some previous versions of this saved, so we'll be just fine if I have to go back. Let's see, mesh mirror. Yeah, okay, so you can kind of see, mostly just because this geometry here is totally crazy, and it's just full of weird triangles and ugliness. So I'm just going to pop this off too. And the reason I have to select these interiors is because apparently it is not welded, which is another strange thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and, let's see, mesh, separate. And we can combine all this stuff together and merge it. So mesh combine, delete by type history, and then go to merge. Okay. So now when I go to face mode, we get everything cool. All right. So I'm going to hide this. We'll hop back over here, and then our little mirror operation should work beautifully here. So mesh, mirror, and then let's see, what do we got here? Those little spiky things. Okay. And then this is probably, what do we have here? There's that thing. Just going to pull all this stuff out. So you can see I've got all these kind of empty transforms here. Just want to make sure you delete the history before you do any modification over here. Otherwise you can kind of break something's connection to its shading group or whatever. And yeah, see, they all just went away all by themselves anyway. Cool. Okay, so at this point I'm just going to put it all back together just so it's easy to show and hide if I need to. So there's a couple little elements here. I guess these little dots are still asymmetrical, but everything else should be very, very close to perfect on both sides. Go back to quad draw. Sorry, I'm going to need to enable this live surface. Select the retop and go to quad draw. And because I was working over here and this is the side that ended up getting mirrored over, everything is totally fine. If I happen to have been working over here and then I mirrored the other side over, there's just a flag in the mirror command where you can just say, you know, grab it from the other side and you should be in very, very good shape. Just something to be aware of. Oh Lord, why is it so difficult? All right, well, whatever. Oops, not relax. Tab. We will extend. Very nice. So I don't actually want to do that because I've got this extra one down there, so hopefully, there we go. We can get something kind of like this. Maybe straighten some of that stuff out a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm going to want this preserved. Like that little edge there may or may not be, sorry, not edge, but that triangle may or may not be what I ultimately end up doing. Oh yeah, I was going to jump on those. Okay, well anyway, so we've resolved the asymmetry issues. Yeah, I think that's fine. And I think I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here, and we'll pick up the rest of this process in the next video.